I'm so excited to talk to you. And before we even get into the movie, Hilary, we got to talk about your Washington connection, because I know you grew up in the Bellingham area and we have a lot of viewers around there. I want you to talk about Bellingham and what you think just makes it such a special place, or maybe even something that any visitor to Bellingham should check out.
Yes, absolutely. Bellingham is my favorite place on earth. I love it so much, and I feel so blessed to have been raised there. It infused who I am as a human being because it's so beautiful, and I lived in nature. I was in it every single day, and now nature is one of my top 3 favorite things. And so there's so much to do. You can ski, you can be in the water. There's the bay, there's lakes. I grew up on a lake there, and I was just actually speaking to Alan, because Alan's going to be working in Vancouver, which I kind of consider kind of our backyard, or maybe it's our front yard because it's north of us. And I'm really excited to when he's not working, or when his wife's not working, or his family can come and visit, and I can show them around. It's just so beautiful, and I love sharing it with people.
Oh my gosh, I agree. It's such a special place. Well, let's talk all about Ordinary Angels. What a moving story to be a part of. Alan, you know, I feel like we live in a time that can feel so divided. I would love to hear you talk about kind of how a story like Ordinary Angels can bring people together.
Absolutely. You know, you're totally right. We all know it. You know, we're tribal individuals. We're sort of primal in that way. And we have to fight the urge to make monsters out of others, or to divide us into out groups, you know, and to go to war with one another. This movie does such a beautiful job of showing us what it can look like if we break down those barriers, and we don't wait to be fully qualified to help somebody, and we don't wait to be at rock bottom before we open our hands to receive, you know, but instead just love as the flawed individuals that we are.
Yeah, so beautifully put. And Hilary, I mean, I know you have a personal connection to the topic of organ transplants with your dad having undergone one. Do you feel like celebrating his memory is something that kind of drew you to this role?
100%. There's a big draw to that for me. And my dad was a Christian, and his whole life was about serving others and being kind. And so it is like a gift that I feel like he sent me. And I did this movie 5 months after he passed. I was offered the movie 2 months after he passed, and I just jumped at the opportunity. I love this movie. I think it would have been his favorite movie of mine that I've done to this day. And also just to be a part of telling a story about goodness in this day and age right now, and I think we need to see it so badly.
We really do. It's about goodness. It's about hope. I feel like it's also about tenacity. Has there ever been a time in either of your lives where you can kind of look back and see how far tenacity got you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think both Hilary and I are pretty scrappy individuals who came from very little. You know, there's no nepotism in my world. You know, and so tenacity carries you a long way. I tell people all the time, if I'm going to hire somebody, I would much rather somebody with passion and heart and a drive and grit, determination, you know, all the qualities that Sharon embodies, than somebody who's immensely talented. You know, I mean, I think tenacity can take you a lot further.
Absolutely.
That's well said. I think persevering through adversity is one of my greatest inspirations. When I see people who do that, I'm just reminded to, you know, like, don't ever give up, and go the distance for yourself and for others.
Yeah. And before we let you go, what's something that you two will always remember about working with each other on this?
Oh. I think, you know,
he's funny. He's more funny than I would have ever thought. I don't know why, because we play these serious roles, you know, but
right. But it's fun on set, you know. I will always remember that, you know, Hilary didn't really know who I was, and so she was taking a real risk to do this project with me, because you never know who you're going to get sometimes, and you're only as good as your weakest link. She's so decorated, so qualified, and she welcomed me with open arms. And I remember after the first scene that we did together, I wanted to be good enough for her.
Oh.
And she reached out and she grabbed my shoulder and she said, "I am so glad you're doing this project." And I was like, oh. A huge breath of relief, yeah, she was just, she's so generous to share this space with me.
and he knocked it out of the park.
Oh, thank you.
I love that story. It seems like you guys have such a great connection, such great chemistry on air, and you made such an incredible film, so thank you. Hilary and Alan, thanks for chatting with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great morning.
All right, I'll talk to you next time.